Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart, they are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains. 1 central brain and 8 mini-brains in each tentacle. These mini-brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution and nature, despite the external differences between species. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food. It also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. What remarkable feature does Queen Elizabeth II have in her long career? Queen Elizabeth II is the longest reigning monarch in world history, having served on the British throne for 70 years. During her reign, the country has undergone numerous historical changes, and the Queen herself has become a symbol of stability for the nation. Over the years of her reign, the United Kingdom has experienced many political, social, and economic shifts, but her dedication to duty and unique ability to remain at the center of the country's political life have been key aspects of her leadership. Is it possible? In Tokyo, there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground. The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine, walking down the street and below you there's a whole underground city. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper. Thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be, and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Did you know there's a fort made entirely of coral? Fort Jefferson, located on dry Tortugas Island in Florida, is one of the largest structures made of coral blocks. Construction began in 1846 and continued for more than 30 years. This fort served as an important strategic defense point for the U.S. coastline, but it's also famous for being built almost entirely out of coral reefs. Now, it's a national park and a popular tourist attraction. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet, when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Black panthers, a sleek coat, not a species. The term black panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration: melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry. After a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. Who would have thought that the most densely populated state in the U.S. is New Jersey? Despite its small size, New Jersey boasts an incredibly high population density, making it unique in terms of living space. However, California deserves attention for its urbanization and its role as a global tech hub, home to major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Ultimately, every U.S. state is unique and plays its part in the overall picture of the country, serving as an important cultural and economic center. Did you know that Robin Hood is a composite figure? The legendary character of English folklore is actually based on real people. This mythical hero, who fought against injustice and robbed the rich, embodied the spirit of popular rebellion. In reality, his character incorporated traits from several real-life criminals of medieval England, who became heroes in the eyes of the poor. The legend of Robin Hood was preserved in folk songs and later adapted into literature, film, and theater, becoming a part of world culture. What do you think makes Monument Valley one of America's most majestic natural wonders? Located in Utah, Monument Valley truly impresses with its natural grandeur. This plateau, featuring sandstone formations that can reach heights of up to 1,000 feet, has become a symbol of the Wild West and has been extensively featured in films, creating an iconic image of the American wilderness. These natural monuments, shaped by wind and time, represent more than just a landscape. They are a picturesque chronicle of nature, narrating the millennia-long processes of Earth's formation. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Did you know that the Phi Islands survived a devastating tsunami but retained their beauty? Despite the horrific destruction caused by the tsunami in 2004, the Phi Islands in Thailand have maintained their unique and surreal charm. These islands became world famous after the filming of The Beach, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, where the stunning cliffs and tropical beaches attract thousands of tourists each year. Even now, despite all the challenges, Phi remains a symbol of natural beauty and is an ideal destination for relaxation, diving, and excursions. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Who knew? A group of pugs is called a grumble. Pugs are already beloved for their cute and quirky personalities, but did you know that a group of pugs is called a grumble? This charming term perfectly suits their adorable and sometimes noisy nature. When several pugs gather, it's a delightful sight and sound. A small grumble of little doggy characters, bringing joy and humor to any scene. Why do skunks smell so bad? It turns out that their smell is their main defense mechanism, and it's so powerful that it can scare off most predators from hundreds of meters away. The secret lies in the sulfur-containing chemicals they release from special glands near their tails. And get this, the smell can linger for days on objects and even in the air. Who would have thought that such a small animal could have such a weapon of mass destruction? Contrary to everything, dark matter is actually invisible. Dark matter doesn't interact with light, so it cannot be seen directly. However, scientists know about its existence through indirect signs. It affects the rotation speed of galaxies and bends light around them. This mysterious substance makes up more than 80% of the universe's mass, but it remains one of the biggest mysteries of modern space science. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans has worked at McDonald's for at least a few days? This is quite an interesting fact, as the fast food chain is not only one of the largest in the world, but also a true training ground for young workers. Many celebrities and successful business people started their careers at McDonald's, illustrating the importance of having a stepping stone in a large corporation. So if you've ever worked there, you're not alone. It's a rite of passage for many. Wow. It turns out that the 12 apostles in Australia are not only a natural wonder, but also a piece of historical heritage. The limestone stacks, known as the 12 apostles, are located along the coast of Port Campbell National Park in Australia. These majestic formations attract around 2 million visitors each year and represent not just a natural phenomenon, but also significant historical value. They are part of an erosion process that has been ongoing for thousands of years and symbolize the power of nature. How would you react if you found out that the US had made Cuba its ally? In 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Soviet Union attempted to place missiles in Cuba, which posed a threat of World War III. However, the US used its naval power to blockade the island and prevent the missile deployment. This crisis was one of the most tense moments of the Cold War, but it also demonstrated how the US, through its military might, could influence international politics and prevent threats near its borders. Despite its socialist orientation, Cuba became an important strategic asset for the US at that time. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey. Measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams, these miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. Why has Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia become a symbol of infinity and magic? Salar de Uyuni is the largest salt flat in the world, characterized by an endless white expanse. This place has an incredible atmosphere, especially during the rainy season when water covers the surface, transforming it into a gigantic mirror-like lake. This makes Salar de Uyuni not only a spot for unique photographs, but also a symbol of infinity, wonder, and magic. Did you know that the oldest tattoo is over 5,000 years old? In 1991, archaeologists discovered a mummy known as Otzi in the Alps. Otzi is around 5,300 years old, and on his body they found 61 tattoos, mostly lines and crosses. These tattoos may have been used to relieve pain, as they are located near acupuncture points. It's fascinating to think that ancient civilizations used tattoos not just for decoration, but also for healing purposes. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that look like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratia exoryza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message: the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. Who would have thought that Al Capone's business card was anything but gangster? Did you know that the business card of America's most famous gangster, Al Capone, stated that he was a furniture salesman? This is an intriguing detail from the life of one of the most ruthless criminals of the 20th century. Capone rose to fame in the 1920s due to his criminal empire, yet he concealed his activities in official documents by claiming to run a completely legitimate business. This fact is striking, as gangsters often used legal fronts to hide their criminal operations. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. Who would have thought that China has entire ghost cities? In China, there are cities built for millions of people, but they remain almost empty. For example, Ordos is a city designed for 1 million residents, but in reality, only a few thousand people live there. These are huge quarters with skyscrapers that have never been inhabited. The reasons for this disappearance of people are not entirely clear, making these ghost cities a real mystery for urban researchers. Brazil, the country with the greatest biodiversity. Brazil is home to 15 to 20% of all the world's biodiversity. It houses more than 120,000 species of invertebrates, about 9,000 species of vertebrates, and over 4,000 species of plants. Every year, around 700 new species of animals and plants are discovered in Brazil. This rich biodiversity is not only vital for ecology, but also holds immense potential for economic development and scientific discovery. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, she was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things like soap bubbles. Ducks with superpowers, they have 3 eyelids. Unlike most animals, ducks have not 2, but 3 eyelids. Besides the usual upper and lower eyelids, ducks have a 3rd transparent membrane. This extra eyelid helps sweep their eyes from the side, protecting them from dust and debris, and it also improves their vision underwater. Ducks essentially have supervision, allowing them to thrive in different environments. Can you imagine what it's like to have such an amazing eye shield? True superheroes in the bird world. Did you know that France sent a cat into space? In 1963, France launched Félicette, also known as Astrocat, into space. Electrodes were carefully implanted in her brain, allowing scientists to receive neurological signals during her voyage among the stars. Félicette bravely journeyed into space and miraculously survived the mission, becoming the first cat in history to venture beyond Earth. She not only etched her name into the annals of space exploration, but also showed that animals have been important pioneers in human cosmic endeavors. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Clouds are heavier than you think. Ever wonder how much clouds weigh, even though they float so gracefully across the sky? Well, a typical cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's as much as 100 elephants. They might look light and fluffy, but they're carrying a huge amount of water. The next time you see clouds overhead, just remember the massive weight floating above you. What if I told you the largest family in the world has more than 180 members? In India, the world's largest family, led by Ziona Chana, consists of 39 wives, 94 children, 14 daughters-in-law, and 33 grandchildren. They all live together in a 4-story house with 100 rooms and a shared kitchen. This family belongs to a Christian sect that allows polygamy, and despite their large size, they live harmoniously under one roof. This incredible family is truly a dynasty that amazes and inspires people around the world. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists, who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Yoro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong water spouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. It's hard to believe, but the Great Wall of China is not a single structure, but a collection of separate walls. The Great Wall stretches for thousands of kilometers and consists of a series of various fortifications built to protect China from northern invasions. Contrary to popular myth, it is not one continuous structure, but rather a chain of different walls that connected at various points. This monumental structure holds historical significance and symbolizes the strength and protection of Chinese civilization. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. Photography, the art of stopping time. The ability to capture a moment on paper may seem like magic, but today, it's a part of our everyday lives. The history of photography is filled with fascinating facts. The first attempts to freeze an image were made in the early 1800s by Thomas Wedgwood, but without success. Modern photography, as we know it today, became possible thanks to the experiments of pioneers like Joseph Nicephore Niepce and William Henry Fox Talbot. Their innovations forever changed the way we preserve and share memories. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday's cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. Is it really possible that Lend-Lease played such an important role in America's growth? The Lend-Lease program, which supplied weapons and food from the U.S. to allies during World War II, was a key element in the country's economic rise. However, few know that, in addition to supporting the Soviet Union and the United Kingdom, the program also included reverse Lend-Lease, whereby allies transferred their naval bases in the Western Hemisphere to the U.S. This granted the U.S. control over the North Atlantic and established it as a naval leader. After the war, with increased industrial production and control over strategic regions, the U.S. emerged as the world's primary economic and military power. Did you know that residents of the United Kingdom who turn 100 years old receive a congratulatory message from the monarch? Every British citizen reaching this milestone gets a personal greeting from the reigning monarch. It is a symbol of respect and gratitude for the long life they have lived. This tradition highlights the importance of honoring the elderly in the UK, where historical continuity and respect for heritage are core values. Each congratulatory moment becomes part of the personal story of thousands, strengthening the bond between the monarchy and its people. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain, Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. What was the real reason behind the emergence of the first coins? The first coins appeared around the 7th century BC and were primarily made of silver and gold. The value of a coin was directly related to the value of the metal it was made from, which determined its purchasing power. The introduction of coins was a significant step in the development of the economy, as they simplified exchange processes and allowed for the formation of more complex systems of trade and wealth accumulation. Why is there a restaurant in Tokyo where real ninjas serve food? In Tokyo, there is a restaurant where waiters dress as ninjas, and it's wildly popular. The waiters perform tricks, vanish into thin air, and serve dishes with an air of mystery. The menu features exotic dishes, served with an element of surprise, and every meal is accompanied by a show. It's not just a restaurant, it's a full adventure for those who have always dreamed of seeing ninjas in action. Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. Did you know the world's largest living rodent can weigh over 60 kilograms? The capybara, or water hog, is the largest rodent on Earth. It can grow up to 1.3 meters in length and weigh as much as 66 kilograms. This semi-aquatic herbivore, native to South America, has webbed feet that help it swim. Capybaras can hold their breath underwater for up to 5 minutes and are highly social animals, often living in groups of up to 100 individuals. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the Sun. How would you react if you found out that the famous Area 51, known for its top-secret status, is located in Nevada? This highly classified territory is owned by the US government and is one of the most talked-about sites on the planet. It is rumored that experiments involving extraterrestrial technologies and mysterious incidents take place here. The area is shrouded in numerous myths and rumors, which only adds to the intrigue of this location. This is why many consider the USA a symbol of democracy. Despite its globally recognized influence on democratic processes, it's interesting to note that women gained the right to vote in the US only in 1920, after many years of fighting for their rights. Native Americans, the indigenous people of the country, became official US citizens only in 1924. This demonstrates how long the struggle for equality and justice has been in a country that today symbolizes freedom and democracy for the entire world. Did you know that in France there's a house with a negative number? In the town of Rocamadour, France, you can find a house numbered -1. This building was constructed under a cliff below street level. When the other houses were numbered, the ground-level houses were already given 0 and 1. This unusual designation has now become a local landmark and a curiosity for tourists. After all, it's not every day you see a house with a negative number. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area but also one of the least populated states in the world. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Imagine for a moment, frogs can freeze, but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze but don't die. Their bodies produce a special antifreeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the Age of Exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard, but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Hard to believe, but the largest iceberg was the size of Jamaica. The largest iceberg ever recorded broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica in 1986. It was about 280 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, making its area comparable to the size of Jamaica. This gigantic iceberg was so massive it could easily have housed entire cities. It drifted in the ocean for several years, slowly melting. Did you know that Americans produce a quarter of all goods and services in the world? They make up just 4% of the world's population, yet they produce a staggering 25% of all goods and services on the planet. That's more than countries with billion-plus populations like China, India, and Russia combined. It's interesting how they manage to maintain such power. In reality, the strength of the American economy is attributed not only to the size of its domestic market, but also to its unique capacity for innovation. Americans create technologies that change the world and actively develop industries such as high technology, medical science, and financial services. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful but practical for use in hot climates. How did a book about cheese conquer the world, even in places where it's rarely eaten? In the 1990s, Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese, was published. It was a motivational fable in which cheese symbolized what people want to achieve in life. The book became wildly popular worldwide, even in countries where cheese is not part of the traditional diet, such as China. This was surprising as the book wasn't about real cheese but metaphorical cheese, which became a symbol of change and personal goals. The message about adapting to change proved to be universal, and the book sold millions of copies globally. The Babylonian Lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Why did paper money originate in China? Paper money appeared in ancient China in the 8th century. Initially, it consisted of banknotes certifying the storage of a certain amount of money in coins or gold ingots. This innovation was driven by the need to simplify trade and accelerate financial transactions. In Europe, paper money emerged only several centuries later. Did you know that Earth is not a perfect sphere? Our planet is far from being a perfect sphere. Its rotation causes it to bulge slightly at the equator and flatten at the poles. This shape is known as a geoid and results from the centrifugal force generated by Earth's spin. The difference in diameter between the poles and the equator is around 40 kilometers. This deviation from a perfect sphere shows how dynamic Earth truly is, always shaped by the forces acting upon it, even in ways we can't see from the surface. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. The United States boasts the largest interstate highway system in the world, facilitating fast and convenient travel across the country. Over 75,000 miles of expressways and more than 400,000 miles of other federal roads connect cities, states, and regions. Additionally, the country has the longest railway system, further enhancing the efficient transportation of goods and people. These infrastructure achievements not only support economic growth, but also provide comfort for millions of Americans, enabling free movement across the continent. This vast highway network has become a crucial element in logistics and the tourism industry, exemplifying how effectively and on a large scale transportation infrastructure can be developed. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50-yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, and it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with 2 metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Blind sight. How can someone see without realizing it? Imagine being blind but still being able to see movements and objects. This phenomenon is known as blind sight. It occurs in people with damage to the visual cortex. Even though they don't see in the conventional sense, they can intuitively detect the location of objects and even guess where they are moving. How is this possible? Other parts of the brain are still able to process visual information. This fascinating phenomenon makes us wonder about how much our brain does in the background, without us even being aware of it. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Did you know the creator of the Frisbee had his ashes turned into a Frisbee? After the death of Walter Morrison, the inventor of the Frisbee, his ashes were turned into a Frisbee. This unusual tribute not only kept his spirit alive, but literally made him part of the game he created. It's a reminder that a person's memory can fly on, encouraging us to enjoy every moment of life. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. Did you know that accents in Britain can change every few kilometers? British English is quite different from American English, and its pronunciation has become increasingly diverse in recent years. Accents in various parts of the UK can vary so widely that you can hear a completely different pronunciation just a few kilometers apart. The royal family is trained to speak Queen's English, which is a distinct and unique standard in the language. Did you know that Margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So, the next time you order Margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. Did you know that there are cities in the United States named after European capitals like Paris, Moscow, Berlin, and St. Petersburg? This is an interesting feature, as the early settlers in America often sought to bring parts of their native culture to the New World by naming places after the Old World. For instance, cities named Paris and Berlin in many U.S. states have become symbols of the old European traditions carried over to New America. Here's what lies behind those black taxis in London. London taxi drivers operate black cabs and must pass a challenging exam to become licensed operators. This exam involves memorizing the city without the aid of maps or navigation systems. This is set against the backdrop of London's often chaotic street layout, shaped by the city's ancient history that prevented the creation of rational plans. In some cases, such as during World War II, authorities intentionally removed street signs to confuse the enemy. Believe it or not, the world's oldest musical instrument was made from vulture bone. The world's oldest musical instrument is a flute made from vulture bone, and it's 35,000 years old. It was discovered in a cave in Germany and serves as ancient evidence of early musical craftsmanship. The flute has 5 finger holes, hinting at its musical potential. This artifact shows that ancient people used music for rituals, communication, and entertainment, adding melodies to their daily lives. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Did you know there is no concept of sound in space? The vacuum of space does not transmit sound waves because there are no molecules to carry them. This means that explosions or loud events in space, like in sci-fi movies, would actually be silent. If you found yourself in open space, you'd see flashes and movements, but you'd hear absolutely nothing. So space isn't just dark, it's also eerily quiet. Tardigrades, survival masters of extreme conditions. These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, can survive in places where other organisms would perish. Tardigrades can endure freezing temperatures as low as -270 degrees Celsius, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In extreme conditions, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism nearly stops, turning them into something like a time capsule. In this state, they can survive without water or food for decades. These fascinating creatures inspire scientists to explore new frontiers, and one day, they might even help humans conquer other planets. Did you know that bees need to visit 2 million flowers to make 1 kilogram of honey? To produce just 1 kilogram of honey, bees must visit around 2 million flowers. This labor-intensive process involves collecting nectar from a wide variety of plants, and through the hard work of the hive, the sweet nectar of nature is created. Every drop of honey represents the collective effort of thousands of bees and the biodiversity of the plants they visit. Honey is more than just a sweet treat. It's a testament to the wonders of the natural world. Imagine for a moment that Machu Picchu is not just ruins, but a symbol of Inca greatness. Nestled high in the Peruvian mountains, Machu Picchu is one of the most famous historical sites in the world, built by the Incas in the 15th century. This remarkable city was abandoned and forgotten for centuries until its rediscovery in 1911. Machu Picchu has since become a symbol of the great Inca civilization and one of the most important archaeological sites in South America. Why do you think shells were used as money? In addition to shells, other items such as metal spearheads, animal skins, special stones, pieces of metal, grains, salt, and various goods also served as currency. These items acted as means of exchange in different cultures and societies. In the modern world, certain goods still function as currency under specific conditions. For example, in prisons, cigarettes are used as barter items, and in conflict zones, ammunition may even serve this purpose in some cases. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hand set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Why is the world's only pink river dolphin unafraid of people? In the Amazon, there lives a unique pink dolphin that not only stands out for its unusual color, but also for its amazing courage. These dolphins often swim near people, and locals believe they have special magical powers. Ancient legends say pink dolphins can transform into humans and visit villages at night. Scientists have yet to confirm these stories, but the mystique and friendliness of these animals have made them symbols of Amazonian lore. Why did Britain become a global empire? The influence of Great Britain on the world stage resulted from various factors, starting with the Industrial Revolution and extending to its military conquests. In the 19th century, Britain, with its navy and industrial innovations, established the largest empire in history, encompassing over 20% of the world's land. Consequently, British culture, language, and economy impacted many countries. Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean. Is it true that counterfeiting has existed since the inception of coins? Counterfeiting emerged simultaneously with the first coins. Ancient fraudsters began to chip away at the edges of coins to create new ones, thereby diminishing their value. To counteract this, coins started to feature special edges, reading, making counterfeiting more difficult. Despite these measures, counterfeiting remains a relevant issue in various countries today. Can you imagine? Your blood vessels could wrap around the Earth twice. Have you ever wondered how complex the human circulatory system is? If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch about 96,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice. This intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries is vital for transporting blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. This amazing feat of nature highlights just how complex and beautifully designed our bodies are. Now that you know this fact, you can marvel even more at how your body works. How would you react to the fact that Winston Churchill was born in a women's restroom? What if you found out that one of Britain's greatest politicians was born in such an unusual place? This fact about Churchill has become almost mythical, and while it may not be true, such astonishing and vivid moments have become part of his legend. Churchill, who served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom twice, played a crucial role in the Allies' victory in World War II. His speeches, resolve, and ability to make important decisions during the most challenging times of the war are key features of his political legacy.